Perhaps you can let us know what you think if you are a younger man. Would you be up for it? In October, Forbes compiled a list of the 9 best dating apps of 2023. The dating app Bumble came out on top, followed by Tinder.
Bumble, the dating app that encourages women to make the first move, has released its 2024 dating trends, and the results are quite surprising.
Let's see what dating is going to look like in 2024. A key aspect to this is the rejection of traditional relationship goals and milestones. Although we've become more progressive about when we're expected to settle down, there are still outside pressures to reach traditional relationship goals, such as marriage by a certain age. It may come as a surprise to know that only 23% of women surveyed are looking to marry. In addition, the survey showed 16% of women are putting themselves first and actively avoiding friends and family who pressure them to meet these milestones.
So Lucy, having said that, did you feel at all pressured to reach those milestones?
Actually, I would probably be in the category of women who said that marriage wasn't the most important. That being said, as a now married woman, I love being married. I absolutely love it. I'm surprised how much I love it, actually. It feels like making that commitment has just kind of taken our relationship to the next level and just reinforced our commitment to each other in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I do think there is a role out there for marriage still, but I think it's important for the couple to decide exactly what's important to them within that marriage. And it doesn't always have to be traditional values. It can be, of course, but as long as you're on the same page, I think marriage is wonderful. We wrote our own vows, which I know a lot of people cringe at, but we didn't like the traditional marriage vows. So we wrote our own, and that's kind of what our marriage is based on, is what we said on our wedding day.
Despite the rejection of traditional values, it has to be said that long-term relationships are still the goal. In fact, 72% of women said that that was what they were looking for.
When it comes to dating, 3 out of 4 women said that it's of the utmost important that they felt safe and secure in a relationship and that their partner had an understanding of emotional and physical intimacy. I'm surprised not all women said that to me. All women are saying that that's not important.
No, I like to feel a little bit on the edge and unsafe.
Maybe it is a danger, like the bad boy thing.
It could, yes. I mean, obviously a lot of women like dating the bad boy.
Yeah.
And they are, you know, exciting and
you need those ups and downs maybe to feel the excitement. Maybe some women like the drama of it. I don't know. Let us know if you have an opinion on this. I do think you can have it too much the other way if you're with someone who maybe doesn't want to do anything. They're a bit too safe.
Yeah, exactly. That is a big turn off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's getting that balance right, in my opinion.
Hope you're taking note, guys.
Is age a defining factor? Well, 2 out of 3 said no.
Good news for those of your generation.
It's the best news ever. Over half the women surveyed said they'd be up for dating somebody younger than them. That's good, because traditionally women were looking for somebody older or the same age as them. Nowadays women are quite confident and quite happy to seek out the younger male.
Yes.
I said that really creepily like that.
She's not looking, don't worry.
No, I'm not looking. Don't worry guys, you're all safe.
I wonder if this goes for men as well. You know, women are more open to dating younger men. I wonder if younger men are also more open to dating an older woman.
That's a good point.
You know, now that the stigma about it is dropping off a bit.
Yes.
Perhaps you can let us know what you think if you are a younger man. Would you be up for it?
31% stated that they would only date somebody with the same mindset.
And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you're looking for like your carbon copy, you're not probably going to find it. There's always going to be some give and take and compromise. But I think it is important to have similar values and to be heading in a similar direction in life. So I was quite surprised actually that almost a third of Bumble users said that emotional intimacy is now more important to them than sex. And actually more important than physical connection.
But obviously there's still 2/3 that say when all the initial sort of passion changes into a slightly different thing, you've got to feel an emotional commitment to that person. It's a basis for a much longer lasting relationship.
I think so. Yeah, that's what's going to see you through the hard times, isn't it?
Yes.
There's been an awful lot of emphasis and discussion in 2023 and previous few years about masculinity and gender roles in a relationship. 1 in 4 men surveyed, so 25% of the men surveyed said that they've actively changed their behaviour in relationships to become more open and vulnerable with their partner than they would have been before.
A lot of men traditionally like to keep their feelings to themselves. They bottle up problems. They don't want to share, maybe because they don't want to worry the other person, but they remain quite closed traditionally. And I think especially British men.
I think so.
And I think that is a case for a lot of men. But it's good to see that, it's not seen as a weakness.
Yes, that's exactly it. I think previous generations have seen vulnerability, particularly in men, as synonymous with weakness, whereas actually it can be part of their strength and part of the core values of a relationship that really help to keep it going. And how often do we hear, of the high suicide rates in men, which is so sad because they just, haven't been able to express how they feel or open up, or they've been shut down when they've tried to. And I think what's really great about this statistic is that the men are actively choosing to be more open and more vulnerable. That's something that they are desiring and moving towards,
Yeah, being more proactive and not just sticking with the traditional male role.
Yeah, and not just speaking because they've been pressured into it by their partners as well. They're the ones making that step, it sounds like, which I think is great. A quarter of the men that were surveyed said that being open and vulnerable had had a positive impact on their mental health, while 1 in 3 said that they thought that being open and vulnerable in a relationship was actually the most important aspect.
The most important
aspect.
Wow.
Was being open and vulnerable, which is huge. A huge change.
It is. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, exactly. In the last 10 to 20 years particularly, maybe even a bit more before that, there's been a trend towards this idea of being your best self, which I don't think is necessarily bad in itself, but I think it can lead to people feeling very insecure with how they are now and feeling unworthy of a partner until they become this whatever version of themselves they think they ought to be. And it's interesting that in this Bumble survey, people are saying that they are becoming or aiming to be more comfortable with who they are in the here and now in 2024. And whilst I don't necessarily think that we should become complacent or lazy, I do think that there is something to say about being very proud of where you are on this part of your journey.
The feeling behind that seems to be that some women don't feel they're good enough yet to meet a man. That's really sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. But on the flip side, I mean, I made a conscious choice. I still dated because I like dating, but I made a conscious choice to kind of remain pretty much a single person throughout university whilst I was focusing on myself and where I wanted to go in my career. And I'm very, very glad I did that because I don't think I would have had the same experience or done so much personal growth had I been in a relationship and I was having to worry about the things we talked about earlier, compromising and being sensitive to that other person. I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with saying I am not in a place to be in a relationship at this time. I'm going to work on myself, for men or for women.
Exactly.
But I think a feeling of unworthiness is very unhealthy, I think.
Yeah, I think you've made a very good point. And you don't have to be in a relationship all the time.
No, it's perfectly fine to be a single person, and there are lots of great things that come with that. And I think women in particular are becoming more and more comfortable with the idea of being single and living alone and maybe being childless and things like that would have been shameful just a few decades ago.
Yeah, well, yes, not that long ago at all.
Yeah, and I think this idea of women having choices about when and how they enter a relationship can only be positive.
The prioritization of self-care led to over 50% of those singles surveyed on Bumble saying they are now more open about their mental health.
Which can only be very positive.
Absolutely.
You do hear about this slow dating approach, which basically means that people don't feel like they need to rush into a commitment. They're happy to spend more time getting to know the person before pursuing a relationship or even meeting. And I think 1 in 3 participants on Bumble said that they like this slow dating approach because it gives them more time to focus on their mental health as they enter relationships.
The whole process of dating nowadays, I think, is even more stressful than it was way back in my day because of that being rejected so often.
Yes, absolutely. And I can see why people would want to take their time before getting emotionally involved.
Yes.
So that, if there is that rejection or if that person ghosts them, they don't have the negative kind of psychological impact, that the rejection might have. How much do our social and political views impact a romantic relationship? It seems that when getting to know a potential romantic connection and figuring out how compatible you may be, not aligning on these fundamental values could become a big issue, a deal breaker in a lot of cases. I think if you align over some core issues, the things that are most important to you, I don't think you necessarily have to see eye to eye on every single political and social issue. because we wouldn't be married. No, we wouldn't be married to our husbands. But there are certain things, certain views that would be a deal breaker for me, and that I wouldn't be able to be in a relationship with someone who had those opinions.
No, absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting that according to Bumble's research, it's actually women that take a bigger issue with having a partner who isn't aligned to their political and social views than men. Yes. I don't know why that surprises me, but it does. 1 in 3 women said it's actually a turn-off if the man isn't aware of current social issues. Maybe it shows that he's not particularly caring of the world around him, and maybe not an active participant in things that are going on around the world. Or maybe it's a feeling that he might not be able to join in conversations with friends and family if he isn't aware of certain issues in the world.
That's a good
that
point.
Might be a bigger issue for women who are typically more social and community-based creatures than men, not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, that is a very valid point, and maybe men don't see that aspect in their potential date as being that important to them because they've got their views. End of.
Yeah, you do what you want, darling. But
you don't change me. This is how I believe. Or maybe some men think that they can change the women's views.
Yeah, that's right.
Think again. Sport.
That's my idea of sport.
Is that sport?
Yeah.
Sport is taking a front seat in 2024, particularly with the increasing support of women's sport. For 1 in 3 couples, a shared love of sports has become a must. You think how well the women footballers, soccer players play. I mean, they've had incredible achievements and their games are so entertaining to watch. There's not all this lying down, faking an injury business, you know, I've been hurt, ref, it's a penalty. You know, they get knocked down, they get up again.
You have to as a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, as soon as you fall over, someone's going to think that you can't do it.
You've made a really good point there.
You have to prove that you can do it.
And they do.
And they do.
And it's such a joy to see, you know, there's not all these dramatics and everything going on like there is quite often in the men's game. Participating in various sporting activities together is becoming more common. I mean, let me take Lucy and Ryan, for example.
We're taking up golf together.
And how do you think that's improved your relationship?
Oh, it's improved it so much because when you get out there on the golf course, we put our phones away. We're out in the fresh air. It's just the 2 of us usually, although other people are welcome to join us. But it's just a great time for us to cheer each other on, and we have taken lessons together, so we try and guide each other to be better, and it's something we can talk about together.
I mean, obviously you can enjoy a film together too and stuff like that.
It doesn't have to be sport if it's not your thing. It's just interesting that women are becoming more included in the conversations and it's improving relationships.
Yeah, agreed.
2024 is going to be all about couples focusing on what works best for their individual relationships, even if that doesn't necessarily look like what we're used to seeing.
So let us know what your dating and relationship goals are for 2024. Please comment below.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give us a like, maybe share with a friend, and hit subscribe to follow us on YouTube.